and turns a simple interview into an absolute disaster. In just 33 seconds, a single comment would ignite a firestorm that nobody saw coming. Michael Strahan sits behind the Good Morning America desk that morning, his signature smile ready to welcome his next guest. The studio audience buzzes with excitement. Camera operators adjust their positions. The energy in the room feels electric because everyone knows this interview is going to make headlines. Meghan Markle enters the stage to thunderous applause. She waves, she smiles, she takes her seat across from Michael. The lights shine bright. Everything seems perfect. Everything seems normal. But what nobody realizes is that this interview is about to go off the rails in the most spectacular way possible. Welcome, welcome. So great to have you here, Michael says, his voice warm and genuine. He leans forward slightly, ready to have what he thinks will be a pleasant conversation. Thank you for having me, Meghan responds. Her tone already carries an edge that makes the producers in the control room exchange nervous glances. Michael starts with a softball question, the kind that any professional interviewer uses to ease into a conversation. So, let's talk about your new projects. What have you been working on lately? Meghan shifts in her seat. Well, Michael, before we get into that, I think we need to address something. Her voice cuts through the studio like a knife. Michael's eyebrows raise slightly. This is not how interviews typically begin. Oh? What would you like to address? The way this network has covered me over the years, Meghan says, her words sharp and deliberate. The constant criticism, the narrative you all have pushed. The studio audience goes quiet. You could hear a pin drop. Michael maintains his composure, his years of live television experience kicking in. I appreciate you wanting to discuss that, but I'm here to talk with you about your current work. And... No, Meghan interrupts, holding up her hand. You don't get to control this conversation. I'm tired of being told what I can and cannot say. Michael takes a breath. His smile stays in place, but his eyes show concern. Nobody is trying to control anything. We're here to have a conversation, and I'd love to hear about what you've been up to. What I've been up to? Meghan's voice rises. What I've been up to is dealing with years of unfair treatment from media outlets like this one. The camera operators keep rolling. The producers in the back are frantically talking into their headsets. This is live television, and there's no stopping it now. Michael tries again, his voice calm and measured. I understand you've had frustrations with media coverage. Many public figures do. But this morning, we invited you here to discuss your projects in a positive light. Positive light? Meghan laughs, but there's no humor in it. You people wouldn't know positive light if it hit you in the face. Every single story, every single segment, it's all designed to tear me down. That's simply not true, Michael responds, his professionalism holding strong. We've covered many stories about your charitable work, your advocacy, your... Oh, please. Meghan cuts him off again. Don't patronize me, Michael. I know what goes on behind the scenes. I know how these networks operate. You all sit in your meetings and decide how to spin everything I do into something negative. The audience shifts uncomfortably in their seats. This is not the feel-good morning show segment they expected. Michael glances briefly at the camera, then back to his guest. Meghan, I have to push back on that, Michael says, his voice firm but respectful. I don't sit in meetings plotting against you. Nobody here does. We're journalists, trying to do our jobs and cover stories that people are interested in. Interested in? Meghan's voice drips with sarcasm. You mean stories you manufacture to get ratings. Stories you twist and manipulate to fit whatever narrative gets you the most clicks. Michael's jaw tightens slightly. He's being incredibly patient, but there's only so much anyone can take. I think you're making some pretty serious accusations without any evidence to back them up. Evidence? Meghan leans forward, her eyes blazing. The evidence is everywhere. It's in every article, every segment, every time my name is mentioned on this network. Can you give me a specific example? Michael asks, trying to bring some concrete facts into this conversation. Meghan waves her hand dismissively. I'm not here to do your homework for you. If you can't see it, that's part of the problem. The tension in the studio has reached a breaking point. Michael takes another deep breath. Okay, let's try to move forward here. You agreed to come on this show this morning. You agreed to this interview. If you felt so strongly about how we cover you, why did you accept the invitation? Because I thought maybe, just maybe, you would be different, Meghan says. I thought maybe you would actually listen. But clearly, I was wrong. I am listening, Michael responds, and there's a hint of frustration creeping into his voice now. I've been listening this entire time while you've made accusations and refused to have an actual conversation. An actual conversation? Meghan's voice goes up another notch. You mean a conversation where I sit here and smile and pretend everything is fine? Where I answer your pre-approved questions like a good little guest? I mean a conversation where we treat each other with respect, Michael says, his words careful and measured. Where we can discuss things like adults without accusations and hostility. Meghan stands up suddenly. The movement is so abrupt that it startles everyone in the studio. You want to talk about respect? Let's talk about respect. Respect is not ambushing someone with questions about their past. Respect is not digging through someone's life looking for dirt. Nobody ambushed you, Michael says, still seated, still trying to maintain control of the situation. We sent you the topics in advance. You approved them. We've followed every protocol. Protocols? Meghan practically spits the word. Your protocols are designed to protect yourselves, not your guests. Michael finally stands up too. He's had enough. His voice remains steady, but there's steel in it now. Meghan, I've been more than fair with you this morning. I've let you air your grievances. I've listened to your concerns. But what you're doing right now is not okay. You're attacking me personally. You're attacking this show, and you're doing it without any justification. Without justification, Meghan's face flushes. The justification is years of biased coverage. Years of watching you people tear apart everything I do. I think you need to take a step back and hear yourself right now, Michael says. You're on live television making wild accusations. You're being hostile to someone who invited you here as a guest. This is not how adults communicate. Don't you dare lecture me about how adults communicate, Meghan fires back. You sit here in your comfortable chair with your comfortable job, and you think you can judge me? The audience gasps. Even the crew members are shocked by the level of aggression in her voice. Michael's expression hardens. I'm not judging you. I'm trying to have a conversation with you, but you've made that impossible. Oh, so now it's my fault? Meghan throws her hands up. Of course it is. Everything is always my fault, isn't it? Nobody said that, Michael responds, his patience wearing incredibly thin. But you are responsible for your behavior right now, and your behavior is unacceptable. Unacceptable? Meghan's voice reaches a new pitch. You want to see unacceptable? Unacceptable is the way you people have treated me from day one. Unacceptable is the double standards. Unacceptable is sitting here and being told I'm the problem when you're the ones who create the problems. Michael shakes his head slowly. I think we need to end this interview. Oh, you want to end it now? Meghan laughs bitterly. Of course you do, because you can't handle the truth. You can't handle someone actually standing up to you and calling out your garbage. This has nothing to do with truth or standing up to anyone, Michael says, his voice dropping lower, more serious. This has to do with you coming onto this show and being disrespectful, making baseless accusations, and creating a hostile environment. Hostile environment? Meghan's eyes widen. You're really going to use that phrase with me? Really? Yes, I am, Michael says firmly. Because that's exactly what this has become. You've turned what should have been a pleasant interview into a confrontation. Maybe that's because I'm tired of playing nice, Meghan snaps. Maybe I'm tired of being the one who always has to smile and nod and accept whatever treatment you people dish out. Michael looks directly into the camera, then back at Meghan. Nobody asked you to accept poor treatment, but nobody asked you to come here and attack me personally either. I've done nothing to you. This show has done nothing to you. We invited you here in good faith. Good faith? Meghan scoffs. There's no such thing as good faith in this industry. It's all about ratings and clicks and who can get the most sensational story. That's your perception, Michael responds. But it's not reality. And the fact that you can't see the difference is troubling. Don't you psychoanalyze me, Meghan warns, pointing her finger. You don't know anything about me. You're right, I don't, Michael agrees. Because you haven't let me get to know you. You came here with an agenda. You came here, ready to fight. And that's what you've done. I came here hoping for a fair conversation, Meghan insists. But clearly, that was too much to ask. A fair conversation requires two people willing to engage respectfully, Michael says. You've been anything but respectful since you sat down. Meghan grabs her microphone and starts to remove it. I don't have to sit here and take this. No, you don't, Michael agrees. You're free to leave anytime you want. Oh, so now you're kicking me out? Meghan's voice rises again. This is unbelievable. I'm not kicking you out, Michael clarifies, his voice steady. I'm saying that if you want to leave, you can leave. But if you stay, we need to have a civil conversation. Civil? Meghan yanks the microphone off completely. There's nothing civil about this entire setup. You bring me here. You try to control the narrative, and then when I don't play along, you act like I'm the problem. Michael's expression shows disappointment now, not anger. Meghan, I really hoped this would go differently. I genuinely did. Of course you did, Meghan says mockingly. You hoped I would sit here like a puppet and say whatever you wanted me to say. That's not even close to true, Michael responds. But believe whatever you want to believe. I will, Meghan says, stepping away from her chair. And everyone watching will see exactly what kind of operation you run here. Michael turns to the camera. We're going to take a quick break. His voice is professional, despite everything that just happened. Don't you dare cut away, Meghan demands. Don't you dare try to hide what just happened here. Nobody is hiding anything, Michael says calmly. This is all on tape. But we need to take a break. You mean you need to figure out how to spin this, Meghan accuses. You need time to come up with your version of events. Michael ignores her now, speaking directly to the camera. We'll be right back. But Meghan is not done. Her voice carries across the studio. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is exactly the kind of manipulation I've been dealing with for years. Security personnel start moving toward the set, not threateningly, but with purpose. Michael remains at his desk, maintaining his composure even as chaos unfolds around him. You're really going to have security escort me out? Meghan's voice is incredulous. This is how you treat your guests? You're being asked to leave because of your behavior, Michael says quietly. Not because of who you are or what you represent, but because of how you've conducted yourself here this morning. My behavior? Meghan looks around at the audience, at the cameras, at everyone watching. My behavior is called standing up for myself. My behavior is called not accepting disrespect. My behavior is called having a spine. Your behavior is called being aggressive and hostile to someone who has shown you nothing but courtesy, Michael counters. There's a difference between standing up for yourself and attacking others, and you've crossed that line. The security team is closer now. Meghan sees them, and her expression changes. Wow. Just wow. This is really happening. This is happening because you've made it necessary, Michael says. You could have had a good interview this morning. You could have talked about your projects, your work, the the things that matter to you, but instead, you chose this. I chose this? Meghan's voice cracked slightly. I chose to be disrespected? I chose to be treated like garbage? Nobody treated you like garbage, Michael says firmly. But you've certainly treated me that way, and this show, and everyone here. Meghan looks at the security team, then back at Michael. Fine, I'll leave, but don't think for 1 second that this is over. I hope it is over, Michael says honestly, because this has been one of the most unpleasant experiences I've had in my career. Good, Meghan snaps. Maybe now you'll think twice before you invite someone on here just to ambush them. There was no ambush, Michael says one final time. There was only an invitation that you turned into a disaster. Meghan starts walking toward the exit. The cameras follow her. She turns back one more time. Everyone will hear about this. Everyone will know what really happened here. They already do, Michael says, gesturing to the cameras. It's all been recorded. Every word. Every moment. The realization seems to hit Meghan then. Everything she said, everything she did, it is all on tape. There is no spinning it. There is no changing the narrative. It simply is what it is. She walks off the set without another word. The studio falls into stunned silence. Michael stands there for a moment, processing what just happened. Then he looks into the camera. Well, he says, and despite everything, there is a slight, rueful smile on his face. That certainly wasn't what we had planned for this morning. The audience lets out a nervous laugh. The tension breaks slightly. Michael sits back down at his desk, straightens his papers, and takes a deep breath. When we come back, he says, his voice returning to its normal professional tone, we'll continue with our regularly scheduled programming. The cameras cut away. In the control room, producers are already fielding calls. On social media, clips are already starting to circulate. The interview, if you can even call it that, lasted less than 15 minutes. But those 15 minutes will be talked about for much longer. Michael sits at his desk during the commercial break, shaking his head slowly. His co-hosts approach him, offering support, asking if he is okay. He nods, manages a real smile, and assures them he is fine. Because at the end of the day, Michael knows he did nothing wrong. He tried to have a conversation. He tried to be respectful. He tried to give his guest every opportunity to share her perspective in a constructive way. But some people, when given a platform, choose to use it as a weapon rather than a tool for connection. The makeup artist touches up Michael's face. The floor director counts down to the return from commercial. Michael straightens his tie and prepares to move on with the show, because that is what professionals do. They handle difficult situations with grace, and then they move forward. The cameras come back on. Michael's smile is genuine again. Welcome back, he says to the audience at home and in the studio. As you just saw, we had an unexpected turn of events this morning. He does not belabor the point. He does not trash his former guest. He simply acknowledges what happened and moves on. Because sometimes the best response to chaos is calm. The best response to aggression is composure. The best response to someone trying to create drama is refusing to engage with it further. The rest of the show proceeds normally. Michael interviews other guests who are pleasant and professional. He laughs, he jokes, he does his job with the same enthusiasm he always brings. By the time the show ends, the earlier incident feels almost surreal. But it happened. It is real. And the footage exists for anyone who wants to see it. In his dressing room after the show, Michael sits quietly for a moment. His phone buzzes constantly with messages of support from colleagues, friends, and viewers. He reads a few of them and feels grateful for the outpouring of kindness. A producer knocks on his door. "You handled that incredibly well," she tells him. Michael shrugs. "Just tried to keep my cool. Not much else you can do in a situation like that." Most people would have lost their temper, the producer says. You stayed